All right, happy Friday, 6-4 parents. Mr. Hagedorn here with your weekly update. Just a couple team announcements before we get into math. First, no school on Monday. All right, don't send your kids to school on Monday. Second thing, we are going to start cracking down on gum. It's getting a little out of control between kids handing it out in the middle of class, kids blowing massive bubbles and popping it on their face, just chomping in general way too loud. So we're kind of sick of gum. So we're going to crack down on that on Tuesday when we return. Also, please check your child's backpack. We've been going through them trying to help some kids find material, and a ton of them have massive binders that they do not need for us. So if your kid's backpack seems like there's a lot of stuff in it, probably some stuff in there they do not need. Again, we don't need binders. Mostly we're seeing these big binders that Track 4 does not use. So if they have those big binders in there, take them out and keep them at home. They're not going to ever need them in any of our classes. All right, for math next week in Math 6 Plus, on Tuesday, we're going to finish up our percentage unit. On Wednesday, we're going to take the STAR assessment. That's just going to be an assessment to kind of see where your kids are at as far as strengths and weaknesses in math, kind of big picture. And then Thursday, Friday, we're going to do our Unit 3 study guide number 2 and our Unit 3 quiz number 2. All right, in Math 6, we are going to continue with our ratio stuff. We're going to keep talking about kind of unit rate and what unit rate makes the most sense in what situation. On Wednesday in Math 6, we will also be taking our STAR assessment again, kind of big picture. Where is your kid at in math? What are some strengths? What are some weaknesses in math? All right. Have a great weekend. We will see you on Tuesday.
All right, parents, dual hatting it. First hat ELA. Just a little food for thought. We had a check-in quiz on chapters 10 and 11 today. And I am finding it increasingly more common that the kids who do not do the homework or listen to the read aloud at home are struggling with that comprehension check because they're just trying to read the chapters and do the comprehension check in a class period, and it's not good. So if you can remind your kids to stay up to date with the reading, that'd be incredibly helpful. And if your kid's in bus room, we have the read alouds going during then too, so you can just listen along and get your homework done, but they have to get off their devices to do that. Either way, next week we will be reading The Key Elements of Mythology. That'll be a new nonfiction of mythology that we're going to start relating back to Kronos, and we're going to be relating with Percy Jackson. Then we'll be reading chapter 13 of The Lightning Thief. Then on Wednesday, we're going to be talking about how Percy's character has developed from the beginning of the story up and through chapter 13. We're going to find character traits that are important and what the author is trying to tell us about Percy. And we're going to be digging into some new vocab: origins, duality, supernatural, and fate. And then we'll be reading chapter 14 on Wednesday. Thursday, we will be doing a lot. Thursday's a lot in class. We're going to be looking at the theme of struggle for power. We're going to be looking into Kronos and how it relates to that theme, how the author showed us details that show us how to support a thematic statement from the topic struggle for power. And then the kids are going to look at one of these themes and finding evidence in the myth that supports it. And then we're going to be reading chapter 15 on Thursday night. For Friday, we're going to have a quiz that is in everything from 12 through 15. So make sure you read that because that's 12, 13, 14, 15. That's 4 chapters, by the way. And we will be writing 2 paragraphs to end the week. One paragraph about how gods are like humans and one paragraph about how gods are not like humans. So that will be ELA. Now, next week in science, my other hat that I like to wear, Matter 2 is starting on Tuesday. We're done with Matter 1. That was our last day today. We're going to go into states of matter and properties of matter. So we're going to do solids, liquids, and gases, which are completely familiar with kids. But we're going to be looking at shape, mass, and volume if they're definite and not definite. Now, those words might be a little bit new. And we're going to talk about what happens when heat messes with states of matter. If you take away heat, if you apply heat, what will happen to the matter? And then we will finish off the week doing stations all about states of matter and messing with ice cubes and watching food color in water. So looking forward to it. Enjoy the long weekend. Remember, no gum starting Tuesday. I'm finding it on my floor. That's gross.
I've had to pick up a lot of gum in my floor too, and it's under the desk. It's just terrible. So keep the gum at home. If the kids have bad breath, get a mint. Get a mint.
Brush your teeth.
Okay, so
Brush the teeth.
let's talk. One other language arts thing that I wanted to remind you is that last week the kids did the end of unit assessment where they did like a writing kind of check. And we finished, or we kind of were working on grading that on Wednesday of this week. And then I think finished it kind of yesterday. And so those grades are starting to go into the grade book. So check your language arts grades because there is one more grade. And then today we did the 10 and 11. So we've got 2 new grades that are going into the grade book for language arts. Now, in social studies, we're into our unit on geography, where the first part of that unit is all about, well, what does the world look like as a landform? We talk about landforms and different waterways. And so today, after doing some notes where we were kind of practicing definitions of things like peninsula and ocean and sea and coastline and different kinds of simple straits and isthmus, we started to look at this, which is a landform model that we have. And so you can see it's 3-dimensional here, and there's 7 pieces of this. And so kids are rotating around and they're looking for different numbers on here and identifying different pieces of both the kind of geosphere and a little bit of the hydrosphere. In other words, the rocks of our earth and the water of our earth. Then as we finish that next week, we'll do that on Tuesday, we're going to create our own in this kind of format where we get some of this modeling clay, this waxy modeling clay, and they're going to create their own kind of geosphere. And as we go, we'll also add in some hydrosphere where we'll take these syringes and we'll fill them full of water and we'll put water over the top and see how the water interacts with the land. That's as we finish. Once we are finished with that, we'll talk more about early humans and their choices that they made settling around these different landforms, the advantages and disadvantages, and the agricultural revolution and how planting their own food kind of took them from nomads to farmers. That's kind of our goal as we go continuing on through our unit. So don't forget, keep those binders at home. You don't need them, and the backpacks will be a little bit lighter. Keep the gum at home. Everybody will be good. Don't come to school on Monday. There won't be any school, and have a wonderful weekend. We'll talk to you next week.